Johnny Somali is scared. Johnny Somali is absolutely terrified because everything that I have said, and Hank has gotten away with it because he's been a minor character. He's been a side character.
Johnny Somali's boyfriend, Hank Yu, is in serious trouble, and we've got a huge update about him. You might think this is old news, but trust me, these are some of the most underrated secrets about Hank Yu that you've never heard before. As you probably know, Hank Yu is an American felon, but that's not all. He's also been trying to make himself the main character by using Johnny Somali's chaos to blow up online, and now that secret plan has finally been exposed. Wait, what? Hank Yu used Johnny Somali to create chaos and turn himself into a big creator? Yep, that's exactly what happened. And it gets even crazier. There are more shocking details about Johnny Somali and Hank Yu that you won't believe. This is a wild update, so let's get into it. So let me give you the biggest update right now about Hank Yu. His secret has finally been exposed. But here's where it gets worse. Now that this secret is out, Johnny Somali is more scared than ever. Why? Because Hank Yu was his closest ally. And if Johnny finds out that Hank Yu was secretly using him, betraying him, and creating chaos just to get clout and fame for himself, that's a nightmare for Johnny Somali. But it doesn't stop there. According to Legal Mindset, Johnny Somali could face even more consequences because of this. The prosecutors and the entire conviction team are working to add extra charges, and Legal Mindset's predictions are now turning out to be true. So right now, Johnny Somali is in very, very serious trouble.
Johnny Somali is scared. Johnny Somali is absolutely terrified because everything that I have said has come true. Now, I have made predictions that have been ranges, like, oh, this could happen. This could happen. And this is scared out of Ramzi Khalid Ismail. He knows that we know. He knows. We know before he does. He knows we're making moves he can't even predict. He knows we put extra charges under investigation.
And that's exactly why Johnny Somali is now making some very desperate moves. He's trying to pull off new tricks and come up with fresh ways to escape the mess he's in, but it's obvious he's getting more and more careful because he knows the walls are closing in. The situation is getting worse for him every day. Just imagine Johnny Somali hearing that Hank Yu, the one person he trusted the most, is now in big trouble because of him, and might even turn on him to save himself. That's terrible news for Johnny Somali. It's like everyone around him is becoming an enemy, even the person he thought was his closest ally. And of course, the prosecutors, the judge, they're all ready to hit him with more charges. Johnny Somali has basically made himself a national and international enemy at this point. And just like Legal Mindset said, the consequences are only going to get worse from here. But does the controversy and chaos end here? Absolutely not. And this time, Hank Yu won't just slip away like nothing happened, because his secret plan has finally come out in the open. Hank Yu's whole game was simple. Use Johnny Somali to create chaos and grab attention. He knew Johnny Somali was heading for prison sooner or later. So, Hank's plan was to ride that wave of drama, make himself famous, and then step in to replace Johnny Somali when he's behind bars. Basically, Hank wanted to turn Johnny Somali into his ticket to clout, cause chaos, get views, and when Johnny's gone, boom, Hank becomes the main character. But here's the funny part, Legal Mindset even talked about this. He didn't become the main character. He's just another side character in Johnny Somali's mess.
Hank ends up getting in trouble because Hank is always been skirting the line. And Hank has gotten away with it because he's been a minor character. He's been a side character. But he wants to be a main character. But now that he's becoming, trying to be a main character, he's getting main character attention. And as he gets that attention, these things are going to come up. These things are going to surface. And this is going to increasingly look bad because Hank is unhinged.
It almost feels like nature is balancing things out. Hank Yu thought he could replace Johnny Somali, become the next big nuisance streamer once Johnny ended up in jail. That was his whole plan. Step in, stir up chaos, and grab the spotlight. But guess what? Hank trapped himself in his own blueprint. The master plan, the demonic plan he cooked up. It backfired. Sure, Hank is a main character now, but not in the way he wanted. He's not famous for being a wild streamer. He's now on the radar of prosecutors, authorities, and the people of South Korea, and they all want nothing to do with him. Right now, South Koreans are rejecting Hank left and right. The authorities don't want him, the public doesn't want him. He's basically getting kicked out of every corner he tries to crawl into. So what's next for Hank? If this keeps up, he'll end up broke and homeless, maybe even begging begging for forgiveness. But forgiveness won't be so easy this time. And don't forget, Hank was already an American felon. He got caught trying to buy an illegal gun in the US, and that's part of why he ended up out of the country in the first place. So if he thinks he can just run back to America, good luck with that.
Unhinged. By the way, yes, Hank is convicted of gun charges, so he is a criminal in the United States by U.S. standards. He is a felon by U.S. standards. He is a U.S. felon. So it's going to push him towards criminality in Korea, right? Which is what we would love to see. What we would love to see. Yeah, he thought he was the main antagonist, but he is in fact a side character.
But honestly, this whole situation is really concerning when you think about it. Most people didn't even pay attention to Hank Yu. Everyone was focused on Johnny Somali. But just imagine, if Johnny Somali did end up in prison and Hank's real plan was never exposed, we wouldn't even know that Hank was pulling the strings behind the scenes. Hank had this whole master plan, a blueprint for chaos. If this never came out, who knows how much more damage he could have done? That's scary to think about, and that's why I truly believe Hank needs to be held accountable for this mess too. But here's where it gets even more confusing. According to reports, the South Korean authorities don't want to deal with Hank's crimes outside their own borders. They don't want to push for extra charges internationally. So what does that mean? Are they basically giving Hank a free pass to keep causing trouble somewhere else? Is it because Hank is South Korean and Johnny Somali is American? Or is there something else going on? Honestly, I don't know. But what do you think? Should Hank face more consequences for what he did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And here's another thing that's making this whole mess go viral again. Some rare old clips of Johnny Somali have just resurfaced too. In these clips, Johnny is straight up making disrespectful comments about South Korea, and not just South Korea, but basically every country he's visited for his so-called content. These clips show exactly what his real intention was all along. Johnny Somali wasn't just trolling for laughs. He was purposely going from country to country, creating chaos, disrespecting people, and calling it content. And in one of those clips, he even tries to spin it like he's doing the world a favor, saying he's showing the underrated side of the world by acting like this. Like, really? That's the excuse? That you're exposing the world's hidden side by harassing people and disrespecting entire cultures? It's unbelievable, but now these clips are evident. People are sharing them everywhere because they want to make sure the prosecutors and the court have all the proof they need. Nobody wants Johnny Somali to walk away from this.
Somali content, I kind of like to show. When I first started doing YouTube, I was doing the travel, boring kind of documentaries, but I kind of like, when I went to Israel and I went to Japan, I'm like, I want to show the other side of the country. I want to show the nightlife. I want to show the discourse. I want to show the side people don't show you. That's like when I was in Israel, I was running the whole Netanyahu protest. I'm going inside Palestine. I'm going inside Al-Aqsa Mosque.
And Johnny, everyone knows exactly who you are by now. You're the king of chaos, the definition of shameless. People see right through you. Everyone knows why you chose Japan, why you chose South Korea, why you avoid Europe and the West, because you thought these countries would be easy targets. You thought their laws were weak, that you could act however you want with no consequences. Well, you're a fool for that. So now it's all up to the South Korean authorities to show what they can really do, and to prove that you can't just disrespect an entire country and walk away free. And as for Hank Yu, what do you think? Is this his moment to replace Johnny Somali and cause even more chaos? Or is this the beginning of Hank's own downfall and maybe even an arrest waiting around the corner? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm reading all of them.